Van harte welkom op deze toch weer zonnige dag. Geen ijs- en sneeuwtoestanden op weg hier naartoe, nou een beetje in het zuiden. Maar we zijn blij dat we deze studiedag hebben kunnen organiseren. We zijn ook erg blij dat we Walter bereid hebben gevonden om hier naartoe te komen. We hebben in september een heel succesvol symposium gehad. En kregen de ingeving, met name Hans Gerling kreeg de ingeving van laten we ook nog een studiedag erachteraan gooien. En waarin we ook hebben afgesproken met Walter om veel dialoog en interactie te kunnen hebben.
Now, the first part I will talk about is the specific approach of our psychological counseling office. And you have some text. I normally read the summary of my talk in order that you, if you fall asleep, that you know about what I have taught. So it's important that the paranormal experiences people have do not need to be denied any longer. They should be integrated in the process of therapy. Only what is relevant for the person. That's very important. This is a very important point. I call this tabula rasa, which means, and this is very difficult, which means that you have to abandon everything which you have learned beforehand if you have to do with the persons which have a paranormal experience. Because you do not know whether this is something which is already known. And this is the most important thing and the most difficult one. So this is the reason why I say don't give short, quick answers. Simply try to avoid every category you ever learned. And I say to everybody, try to listen to the case as if you heard this for the first time in your life. So we speak about psychophysical systems. See, here you know this. We have on one side our psyche, we call this the mental part of the system, and the other part is the physical part. There's an old problem in philosophy, how they work together. In this distinction between the mental part of the system, which we clearly can describe by psychology, and the physical part, which we can clearly describe by physics, it is not clear. Because in physics we have no concept of mental systems, in psychology we have no concept of physical systems. And whatever you try, it would not work to put them together. This is astonishing, because when I raise my hand, well, you could say, poor, that's easy to explain. There are some activation in my brain. They go through my neck to my muscles and they move the muscles. Well, that's true, but this is only physics. Nothing mental in it. Because if I want to explain why I raise my hand, well, I can give you a good psychological example. I can say, well, because I want to demonstrate you the mind-body problem, or the Geist-Seele problem, the Körper-Geist Leib-Seele-Problem in philosophy, mind-brain problem, body-mind problem. That's an old question in philosophy. It doesn't work. Whenever I found a physical process in my brain, it's physics. It's not your consciousness. You will not find your consciousness in your brain. That's fine. But because all physical descriptors, all observables are physical observables. And it's not clear how to connect them. This is the so-called Cartesian cut. Cartesius said there is no possibility. Leibniz found another solution. He said, well, God has created the world in such a way that these are all always synchronized, but they are different in origin. What we can now say they are connected by entanglement. And this is a second cut. This is called the Heisenberg cut. This is a cut from outside the system, the so-called exoview, and the system from inside, from the nature itself. So you can say, outside we have rationality, we have technology. This is exo. Everything I can describe. But nature is not interested in technology. Nature is as it is. And our psyche, our soul, is as it is. And Hans Grüner found out that the endo-world is not separated. They are all observables there, and they are all entangled. That's a new finding. In the real world, everything is entangled, everything is causally connected at the same time. This does not mean that everything is connected to everything, but we will come back to this point again. In esotericism, they often say, well, everything is connected in the universe. But this is a too strong assumption. We need not make this. I will explain you later. Now, if, well, leave it out. Okay, this is entanglement. This means there is no Cartesian cut within the real world, the endo system. That's a world without an observer, without a measurement. These are the things you are not talking about. That are no systems. But one can, it's really shown mathematically, you can describe this world. It's completely entangled, it's completely causal at the same. We have found that in any case there are at least 5 conditions which create a poltergeist. These are necessary conditions. They are not sufficient. We do not know all, but at least these 5 conditions have to come together to create a poltergeist. The first one is, of course, an unconscious problem, the persons have. The focused person or the family or the environment has a problem which they do not know. It's like with a psychosomatic disease. You do not get psychosomatic reaction if you know what the problem is. And if you go to a doctor, he says, well, you have heart attacks, well, have you problems with your sheath? And well, the persons who have psychosomatic say no, not at all. He's a nice man. And that's the reason why the reaction is a kind of warning that there's something going on unconsciously, which is a real problem for the persons. Okay. The second condition is, we call this externalization. This is a concept of Rotter in psychology, which means that persons who have a strong externalization, they can just keep problems apart from them. Poltergeist focused persons are fantastic externalizers. They do everything to externalize their problem. Okay, further, they are highly dissociative persons. I assume that you know what dissociative means. That you have, this is a so-called the pyramid model of personality. Your conscious part is like an isle out of the sea. You know everything quite well. But under the sea level, there are the subconscious things where all these fairy tale things live. And sometimes you get a small volcano outside if you have too much problems here. And this is dissociation or dissociation disorder. This does not mean that this is an illness. This is a kind of characteristics of certain persons. Okay, so highly dissociative persons. Of course, any poltergeist needs observers. If there is nobody present, the poltergeist is not active. So it's a kind of dramatic installation to show something which you cannot put in words. Okay, and finally, and this is the most important part of the whole thing, I found out for many years in parapsychology there were studies to ask whether focus persons are mentally ill, whether they suffer from schizophrenia or epilepsy or what else. And I found out it's just the contrary. These are persons who are completely healthy. They are very robust. They do not get ill, neither somatically nor psychically. They are simply the persons who sit when the poltergeist destroys everything. They sit there and look at it. They have no fear. They say, "Oh, the next moment this picture will fall down," and it falls down. So you can find them out very easily because they are the only one in this trouble who are rather relaxed. So these are the 5 constitutions for poltergeists we know. There may be others. And this means that poltergeist is a phenomenon of an organizational, closed, self-organizing psycho-physical system. So you have everything together, which means that I have to explain this a little bit. Or I would say poltergeist is a psychosomatic reaction in the environment of the person. It's like a psychosomatic reaction, but it's in the environment of the person because there is a mechanism to keep the person sane. They should not go to be mentally or bodily ill. Sometimes you really need some jump to do something which you would not expect. And this can be helpful. So that's very simple, but it's very difficult to do. If you are a psychologist, try it out. You will find that the client, they refuse to do it. But if they do it, it's really helpful. Okay, now please stop.
Walter, thank you very much. We were really pleased that you would come all the way from Freiburg